Howdy, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another Random Rambles video. For some of you that don't know what this series is in general, it's just mostly just going to be me ranting about pretty much anything, whether it be about the games I play or anything in life, about me personally. It doesn't really matter. If you have a question, ask away and I will do my best to answer them, and that's it. I can talk about pretty much anything and give up my overall opinion, so yeah. If you have any other questions, you can write them down in the comments and I will either reply them on the video or in a much more later down in the future, or I will reply to them in the comment section down below. And all of the topics that I have picked out or people have asked me, they're all in their own little timestamps. So if there's something specific that you want to check out or want to know of, go ahead. And I will also include one extra from me personally. So yeah, without wasting more time, let's get straight into it. Starting out with the first one where it's God damn it, Kelp. Anyway, next up, who do you want to see as a protagonist in DL3? Aiden, Crane, or someone new? I feel like Dying Light 3 could be a much more different game. I feel like Dying Light the Beast could use a completely new entire DLC for on its own to sort of continue or have like some sort of a closure for both Aiden and Crane. Because after the Beast's ending, I feel like there could actually be something that they can do to sort of finally close the chapter for both Aiden and Crane. But depending on what they do with it, I don't really know. But if we're talking about like a Dying Light 3 new character in general, I feel like they should do with that because like I feel like they should at least explore different countries because of the fact that they could actually like offer something unique, like maybe take place in Japan, China, or in Africa or something. Doesn't really matter. So I feel like they should roll with a new character entirely. Which of the Dying Light Game of 3 has the best story to you? Obviously, Dying Light the Beast has the best, honestly, in my opinion. Techland has really put out their efforts in terms of making a story. Dying Light 2 does have a solid story, but it's very lengthy. It can get relatively boring, so yeah, Dying Light 1 is very predictable and very cliche, and it's not really that much interesting in my personal opinion. So, yeah, I was able to really predict a lot of the stuff, except the fact that I originally assumed that Brecken was like working with Rise. That was one of the theories that I had when I first started playing the game, but then it just kind of was like, oh, okay, it's not gonna go down to that route. Do you think Dying Light the Beast should get its own DLC down the line, or do you think Techland should start developing DLC? Again, like I previously said, I feel like they should release another DLC for Dying Light the Beast because of the fact that the story of it just kind of feels like it's like a new beginning for them, where they can like kind of work together and start off or like go somewhere to sort of start GRE in general or whatever. I feel like they could work with something like that, and if they are going to be working on a DLC, I feel like they should at least allow us to either choose between Aiden or Crane, which each of them having their own little different unique attributes or stats that could make them stand out to each other. So I think they should probably roll with DLC or like making one DLC for Dying Light the Beast and that's it. I wouldn't mind if they started working on developing on Dying Light 3, honestly. I don't really mind, so that's more or less up in their personal opinion. Who do you think is much more stronger or powerful, Aiden or Crane? I feel like in terms of physical strength or in terms of endurance in general, I feel like Crane is a lot more superior compared to Aiden because Crane is a trained soldier or well, once was a trained soldier, and because of his beast-like powers, I feel like he's a lot more stronger compared to Aiden. However, I feel like Aiden is a lot more quicker on his feet because of his youth, and Crane is noticeably starting to get older, but that doesn't necessarily mean he can't exactly fight. But Aiden can definitely fight. He just more or less relies on his speed more rather than his actual strength. While he is strong and is a superhuman in general, but compared to Crane, I don't think he has the same amount of like physical strength in general. So yeah, I would say in terms of strength wise, Crane obviously beats Aiden, but in terms of like speed or agility in general or how nimble they are, Aiden is obviously the clear winner. I more or less see Aiden as a fast person and Crane as the big strong man type of person. So I would say Crane is a lot more stronger than ever. Why is it the chicken cannot sandwich without bread, and why isn't it called a chicken breadwitch then? That's actually a good question. Hmm, I never thought of that. If anyone has an answer to this one, please let me know, because I'm too fucking retarded for this one. Anyway, next up. About Dying Light 2, do you use visual mods, and if you don't, why is that? That's mainly because of the fact that I am very specific on terms of visual mods, and I just don't really like them in general because it's mostly on weapons that I don't really use or on outfits that I never really wear. Because in terms of looks or uniforms that I pick out, I always try to make Aiden or Crane look like they come from like an Arctic military or some kind, or at least in some cases make them more like a tactical unit, if that makes sense. Like I like more grounded military slash like Arctic visual look to it. So yeah, again, I don't really care about visual mods that much because it doesn't really affect me that much. I'm someone that more or less focuses on practicality more than actual looks. About Dying Light in general, what is your favorite volatile version and why? Honestly, they're all really good in their own ways and they all have their own sense of style. But if we're more or less talking about like which one looks the coolest, I think I would have to roll out with the Dying Light ones like alpha volatiles, or like the blue variant, I guess you could say. It does generally make them really cool. But then again, all the other volatile variants that exist in the game, like the Tyrants, the DL2 volatiles, and as well as the Dying Light the Beast, they look phenomenal in their own ways and they look quite unique. But in my personal opinion, I do genuinely love how um, the Dying Light 1 Alpha Volatiles look. They look really fucking intimidating, and I do love how they look. So, yeah. Next up we have is, will you show us the other... Anyway, for some of you that don't understand the question, there was a point where, I don't know if it was this year or last year, it was right after April 1st, I decided to post a picture of my hand, my actual physical hand, not like some random picture of someone's hand, but I literally took a picture of my hand and posted it on the community post for shits and giggles for the most part, and I didn't really think of it that much. However, the day after I posted it, I look over to see what the hell's going on, and turns out that it had more liked than most of my videos, and as well as had way too many comments. And let's just say the comments were particularly suspicious to say at least, and a lot of you really need to go to jail for being so fucking horny over a person's hands. For fuck's sakes, none of you people even know what I look like, let alone my how I look physically in general. So why are y'all thirsting over my hand? And I do remember the top three comments that were most liked. One of them was "choke me daddy." The other one was "your spouse must be so lucky to have such grippers like that." I don't even have a girlfriend. I've never had a girlfriend in my life. What makes you think that they would be lucky to have such a... I don't even have like meaty hands. Like my hands just look kind of average. I'm not exactly a tall person in general. I'm literally just the most average dude on the internet. So I don't know why the fuck are y'all even like thirsting over this. The third one was, you could beat me to death and I would say sorry because of how much of a magnificent hand you have. And the fact that I'm even able to remember these three comments just kind of shows how traumatized I am to some extent. But am I gonna show my other hands? If you offer me $50, I would definitely do it. I'm kidding. Do not offer me money, please. I am begging you. Do not do it for the love of God. Just don't. I will show my hands if you actually do it, but I'm serious. Do not give me money because of that. But $50. I'm kidding. Stop. I'm I'm giving too many ideas for you people. Anyway, anyway, next question. Let's go over with Payday 3 more specific, or in Payday in general. So, first one being is that favorite weapon. What? Fuck's sake. Favorite weapon. Favorite weapon on each type in Payday 2, like favorite shotgun, pistol, AR, and etc. I more or less prefer fully automatic weapons, so that would be SMGs and as well as rifles and LMGs. Those are the ones that I primarily really like. But I will talk about each of the weapons that are like my personal favorite in right now. But more the primary reason as to why these weapons are my favorite, it's mainly due to the fact that they're actually based off of real life weapons. I will showcase the ones on screen right now, and these are my favorite assault rifles, my sniper rifles, my shotguns, and as well as the SMGs, pistols, rocket launchers / grenade launchers, and as well as the special weapons. Again, a lot of these favorite weapons that I have are just mostly for personal preference in terms of like real life looks or what they're currently based off of, and that's it. I specifically love the Ketchnov and as well as the Russ Angry Tiger because of like what they're based off of. I genuinely love the Groza, and I do really love the big ass girthy anti-material fuck you revolver that the Russians have. Why is it always the Russians that have the most absurd weapons in real life? That's just one thing I don't never understand. But yeah. Again, a lot of the weapons that I love are just mostly just for personal preference, even if they're kind of dog shit, honestly. So, yeah. I know there really isn't much about Payday, but I will include one specific, or like one out of my own, as a way to kind of, I guess, to let go of some of the feelings that I have, or in terms of, I suppose, letting this off my chest, because I do have a bit of an overthinking problem. So, the one big problem I have right now with Payday is that I don't really know what to do next with it. Like, I am kind of struggling to think of like a video ideas that I could genuinely make without making the same video like, oh, Payday is dying, or here's a new meta skill build or some shit. Like, I will be making a video about talking about heisters that have gone glown ups or glow downs, and as well as in the future, or in the next video, I will talk about all the skills the current skills that we have on Payday 3 before they get completely reworked, and that's it. But overall, I am kind of struggling to think of like what type of video ideas I have in my head, or like what to make in general, because of the fact that I kind of talked about a lot of stuff for Payday 3 and sort of teach people in one way or another. I talked about the armor system, I talked about the skills, I talked about weapons, the weapon modifications, preset weapons, and how certain enemies function, and etc. And so on and so on. I talked a lot about a lot of stuff, but it's kind of coming to the point where I don't really know what to do. There's one of a specific series of videos that I want to make where I talk about a specific weapon class and then kind of talk about them throughout the Payday franchise. Let's say the example, the AK rifle or the AK in general. I will talk about it, how effective it was in Payday the Heist, in Payday 2, and as well as in Payday 3. Talk about if they're good, like what makes them any different compared to the last ones, and yada yada yada. Get the gist of it, and more or less just talk about them in general, and that's it. Again, I'm not quitting Payday, and I never will, despite the fact that I am kind of losing hope for the franchise because of the fact that we lost like a lot of the memorable faces, like Andreas and as well as Almir specifically, and we're probably going to be losing more. But again, I'm not going to be letting go of the hope that I have for Payday 3 or the Payday franchise in general, even though it's kind of a really shitty spot. But I will stick to it until it is completely dead. So yeah. That is all I have to offer. I know this is a much more shorter video compared to the others, but what can you do really? It's just a more simple, straightforward video that I don't think I really need to talk much in general, so yeah. Other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video of me ranting. If there's any questions you have, regardless if it's about like games or in real life stuff in general, or you want to ask a personal question about me, then go ahead, I will talk about it and, I will either reply it or I will talk about it in a much different video in the future. So yeah, I hope you enjoyed this video, and that's all I have to offer. Thank you for watching or hearing out, and I hope everything goes well for you. Treat each other with respect, show some love, kindness to another, and I will see each and every one of you next time. Goodbye. Now get out of my fucking house. Shoo.